Today, I want to talk to you guys about the Pepecoin price because actually, as we're seeing a massive sell off because of tariff concerns, and the Fed came out yesterday and even added fuel to the fire of fear surrounding tariffs, talking about inflation getting more persistent. Even though all that's going on, we're seeing the traditional market fall quite a bit. We're actually seeing Bitcoin, which did slip, now hold up better than the traditional market a little bit. And Pepe is actually right now finding a sort of potential floor. Are we going to hold this level? Can we head lower? What kind of downside could we still expect for Pepe? And, can Pepe actually come back? Or, is this bull market over? These are a lot of questions that I think people are looking at right now. And I want to explore this a little bit in this video and talk about some charts, look at the macro side of things, and kind of chat about what comes next for Pepe. So welcome back to the Crypto Report, everybody. I'm Crypto Kip. Do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel for more content. Let's hop into this one. So just sharing my screen, we are at a very important moment for the total market cap for crypto. And just as an example, I actually have a group chat with some of my friends, and in this chat, just some of the buddies that I golf with. Actually, I'm going golfing later today. One of them said to me yesterday in a chat, "Is like, hey, looks like these crypto markets are actually holding up pretty well." And the second that I got that text message, I was like, "Oh gosh, that tells me maybe we're due for another little slip," because it's almost like they're shocked, and it's like all of a sudden a boost of optimism, for crypto, which I'm all for. I love optimism, optimistic, positive attitude, right? But the tariffs and the data that we're looking at would suggest, with the news at least, that there could potentially be some more downside. And I'll tell you, the bounce that we saw in crypto didn't quite line up with, just looking at this. Trump tariffs spark worst weekly meltdown since 2020. Cited by the White House, economists cited by the White House to justify its tariffs aren't thrilled. You're looking at a lot of things going on. Inflation from President Trump's tariffs could be more persistent. That's the language coming from Fed Chair Jerome Powell yesterday. So, Pepe right now, Pepecoin currently sitting a lot lower than where it previously was. Right now, it's actually a 3.69x away from its previous all-time high. If you take a peek at the Pepecoin chart, you're going to see that right now, if you're buying Pepe at these levels, you're buying at a 75% discount, which is very good. But I do want to discuss this openly and honestly with you guys that, there is a chance that Pepe revisits this 505 level, maybe even these wicks down to 503. And I say that with caution. The reason I'm thinking something like that's possible is because, Bitcoin has certainly fallen out of this range after this tariff announcement. Yes, we had a little relief rally after we had our dip from tariffs, and a little bit of a relief rally because this was a very big and quick move. And the cool thing is with crypto is there's been a nice bounce, I think, because there's a lot of buyers. But yesterday there was a record of buyers in the traditional market, and they bought $4.7 billion worth of stocks, at least retail did. And this is what the stocks are doing. Here's the S&P 500 down 5%, Dow down 5%. Those are huge numbers for the S&P and the Dow and the NASDAQ to be down that much. Bitcoin's down less over the last 2 days, which is crazy. And it's so crazy, in fact, that it's probably going to slip too. The reason being, and the reason I'm slightly bearish in the short term, is just because, again, Powell made comments at the end of the day on Friday talking about inflation from these tariffs being more persistent, and we really haven't seen any more sell-off after the tariffs have gone live since that first dip that we saw from 88 down to like 81. We're back up to 84. Why do I think Pepe can come lower? Well, all that news, but looking at Bitcoin and total market cap, guys, this total market cap, though we had the recovery, is coming back down with some weakness. 1 day, 13 hours left on this weekly candle. If this weekly candle flips green from green to red and it breaks lower, then Pepecoin could easily come lower. The levels that I'm looking at for total market cap, one is 8% away, which is down to 2.4 trillion, which is just right at this first little peak from our 2021 bull market. That's a 9% move to the downside. The other level I'm looking at to the downside right now is a 17% move to the downside, which is kind of going back to this, the last, call it a dead cat bounce before we actually fell into the bear market. So these are the levels that I'm kind of peaking at as potential downside. And if our total market cap comes down 17%, that's the world where a move for Pepe down to these wicks, another 44% could become possible. I wouldn't be surprised, however, if we were finding a floor at this 406 level, or if Bitcoin found a floor somewhere around this 80K region, because at the end of the day, crypto is the hedge against inflation. If inflation is going to get worse because of the tariffs, then, Bitcoin is a good hedge against that. The problem is that as inflation gets worse, it lessens the odds of a Fed rate cut. And we've actually seen those odds shift a little bit worse for the rate cut in May. They were actually better. We saw the odds drop about 10% for a rate cut in May, just over yesterday alone. So we're going to keep an eye on that over the next few weeks. And then the odds of a rate cut in June have actually gone down just a little bit as well. However, still looking good for June. We're still looking good for June. In fact, right now, the markets are not predicting any kind of rate pause in June. They're still expecting a rate cut. It's really a debate over whether we're doing a 0.25% rate cut or a 0.5% cut. What the heck does that have to do with Pepe? Honestly, guys, it has everything to do with Pepe. And that might be shocking to you because at the end of the day, this is a meme coin. But if you want your meme coin and your risk on asset to rally, whether it's Bitcoin or Pepe, you want the Fed to cut rates. The tariffs make it difficult, which is why I'm talking about potential downside in the short term. And really, when I talk about downside, I'm talking about accumulation opportunities. In addition to that, there is great volatility for some excellent trades. If you want to do some trading on your own, you can sign up for Blowfin using the link in the description down below, up to a $5,000 deposit bonus when you sign up using our link. Check it out if you haven't done so already. That's all I have for you guys in this video. I am Crypto Kip. This is the Crypto Report. I am a bull on crypto, but in the short term, I still lean slightly bearish on these tariffs. When I see a friend in a group chat get excited about crypto, historically, it's usually led to a little bit more of a sell-off. When my friends are the quietest about crypto, it's like a temperature gauge for, is the bottom in? Because if nobody's talking about it, the bottom could be in. If people are still hyped about it and excited, well then potentially, we could have a little bit more of an exaggerated move. And sometimes that's to the upside too, right? If everybody's super, super bearish, then you could say, well, then it's time for bullish momentum. And maybe I'm too bearish, but I'm very curious. What are your thoughts? Leave me a comment in the chat down below. That's all I have for you in this one. I'm Crypto Kip. This is a Crypto Report. Do me a favor, guys. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. DCA, HODL. And of course, my friends, I will see you in the next one. I got 2 videos for you right here if you want to check them out. Until next time, peace, guys.